Gotta find them.
But I did on that flip that we were talking about, I did one of the walls with all these squares on it too. I just did
Kim,
anyway.
my gosh, is that Kim Thurm on? No, she was in the state meeting. I saw her name on there, so she must have transferred over. Hi, Kylie. Hey, Eric.
How's it going, guys?
Good, good.
Good.
Shayna, how are you?
Doing good. How are you?
Good. Ashley says you're doing a lot better.
Yep, every day getting better.
Good, good. Love it. It's connected. Let you guys say hi.
Hey, guys.
And now your screen's doing something.
It's what?
You're slinging movies on TV.
I hit the remote, probably. I just. Yeah, yeah.
I can do that.
It's crazy. No, we're just getting people off logging in. We're just about to start. No real agenda today. Had a crazy week. Yeah, right here, unless Lynn's coming up. I don't know what she's doing.
Oh, yeah, that's right. She might.
Maybe she does not want to.
I'll get it over.
Do you mind going and ask her if she's coming up?
Yeah, sure.
Since you're up, and then we'll,
She was on the phone.
oh, okay.
Weird.
What's that, Eric?
Weird. Lynn's on the phone.
Yeah, odd, huh? Pedro must be using the wrong link. It's the same. He's asking for a passcode. Let me see.
Jeff, you have to go in and edit the link. You didn't put a space between hope.
I didn't put a space between what?
So if you click on the link, it like goes further and it has like hope to see you guys there connected to the link.
Oh, when I copied it over. Oh, I
Yeah.
see what you're saying. So there's no separation between the link and the text.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe that's why it's not working. If you guys run into that, like I just texted Pedro, a lot of you guys have this link. It's the same one every time. That link usually has the passcode embedded in it. But if you get to it from the user, the ID, the meeting ID, the password's easy to remember. It's limitless. So just type in limitless, all lowercase.
I just scroll back a couple of weeks and click that link.
Yeah, that one's not working. I got it somewhere else, right? Mark, how are you this morning? Movie star Mark.
Yeah,
Hey,
I was in theaters over the weekend.
what did you say?
I was in theaters over the weekend.
Nice. I saw the commercial that you posted. That was kind of cool.
Thank you. Well, if anybody went to see The Chosen over the weekend, you saw me in several scenes. You just didn't know you seen me.
Subconsciously, I felt your presence.
You know, it was my energy.
Nice. So Kim just put in the chat that she couldn't hear me at first, so she didn't hear me calling her out. So glad you're here, Kim. Ashley's on Zoom. So Ashley sent me we shared like little clips from podcasts or books or something that we're listening to. Did you guys ever like listen to something and then there's two different things, either like, oh my gosh, I needed to hear that again, or sometimes it's like you think of somebody that needs to hear this. So there's two kinds of shares, right? It's like you might want to listen to this. There's something you could learn from. But a lot of the stuff that Ashley's, will share is more like, hey, this resonated with me, kind of on her journey, what she's going to. And I like the one you shared this morning, Ashley, or I think this morning, maybe it was yesterday morning, but I was thinking about it this morning. But they were talking about how whenever you pursue anything, you're going to experience success or a lesson.
Or both.
So it's, yeah, right? But people, if they don't experience the success they intended to, sometimes forget what's in that I can take forward to. And I like just that little snippet from what she shared, because there's a benefit and a positive experience in everything we do. You know, and if it's a lesson, then we grow and we gain experience. I can't remember who I was talking to the other day. We were talking about experience, and some people are really proud about how long they've been doing something. But you can tell they haven't really grown in the process. So they've maybe done the same thing for 30 years, but they haven't got 30 years experience. So there's a big difference there. And if we pull those lessons from, we learn more from failures, and it's like, oh shit, don't want to do that again. Than doing something right. Sometimes you do something right and you don't even know what you did right. Well, we're gonna sit right. Sorry. Sorry, I couldn't watch. Sorry, guys, it's funnier in person.
Sorry, Kristen, she had some good stuff that she was talking about today. And she went a little bit over, but she was just talking about where our market is and all the different ways we can make money with EXP. And so I just thought it was good.
Nice, yeah, I started off like right at the end, but she hadn't finished yet, so that's.
So anyway, sorry, I'm late.
No worries. Good morning, Reigns team. Ashley, are you in
Morning.
bed?
She doesn't.
Huh?
Are you in bed?
No, I'm on the couch.
She's in
Okay,
Taylor's.
I know, she's not feeling well today.
I just get dizzy every time I stand up, so I'm just chilling.
Cool, why would she's not the stand up? So, hi Kitty. Who else was on that team meeting today with Kristen's team meeting?
I was
Anyone?
on today.
Yep, I saw you on there, Kim. She always does a great job.
Oh, yes, for sure.
Talked a lot about like the affiliate businesses with the EXP, the relocation and the REO department and that kind of stuff. A lot of opportunities for agents to plug into stuff like that.
What I really liked about what she said, because Tina Pearson and I are doing one with EXP where they own it in inventory. And what Kristen was saying was really important, because some of these programs take a lot of your commission. They take, not only do they take around 40% sometimes, but they also, even if you're capped, they still want you to pay 20%. You still have to pay the 20%. But what she was saying is those that leverage that to get other deals, it makes it worth it for them. So if you're looking at that, don't look at what you're losing, look at what you're gaining. And there's multiple ways for us to make money with EXP that the opportunities weren't there for us at our other brokerage. So look at it that way. Sometimes one deal can turn into 5 or more. So anyway, I thought that was cool.
Yeah, no referrals. I think they're great. And when you get a deal that you didn't have before paying that referral fee, it's still, it's the net that you're gaining, not what you're giving up. Because you're giving, I think you're giving up something that you have versus something of zero. You didn't have it before. Pretty easy to get it.
Yeah, well, there's other things they ask you to do. They ask you to go check on the property once a week. They ask you to shut off the water when it's not, when they ask you to shut off the water when it's the winter. There's a lot of extra things you have to do. And you can look at it and be, grumpy about it, or you can look at it as, you know what, this was an opportunity I didn't have before, and just use that opportunity with marketing and different things like that to get other deals. But yeah, I think those are really great opportunities for us. I haven't seen any more of those come through, and I don't know how many people are actually getting deals from the reload. Is there anybody that is certified?
I'm certified for the relo. We had one about a year ago, and it's led to 2 other referrals that we didn't have to pay a relo fee on. And it was a really smooth process. The paperwork seems intimidating, but it was actually pretty simple. So I always think about that, the referral source afterwards. We work with the, like a teacher's program, which can take anywhere from 5% to 20%, but it's created a ton of referrals too. And then a side point, anyone going to shareholders can get certified for all of those courses in a crash course in like one day. My sister Stacy from Washington is going specifically for that reason, to get all those certifications done, because she works during the day and it's kind of hard for her to, you know, catch all the classes and go through everything. So she's going to do it while she's at shareholders.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, Tina did that with EXPCon in Vegas. Went and got those certifications. Super nice. They consolidate those in there. I love what you just said too, Eric, because we forget sometimes the compounding effect of our transactions. And we look at it as a one-off, you know, you look at that referral fee or whatever we were just talking about and what you're giving up, but hopefully we're making those relationships and it's a compounding effect year over year. You know, like having these programs gives you those talking points, right? Eric, and you and I talk a lot about talking points and having the right things to say. But if you think about the transactions you did, say last year, maybe you did 10, maybe it's 20, let's just use the number 10. And if you wanted to get an extra 10 this year, really, I think it's something that a lot of us don't focus on enough is the previous 10. If you were very conscious about your efforts and your conversations and your value add to those 10 in thanking them and keeping in contact with them with the intent of, I'm going to try and get one referral from each one of them. If you did a good job for those previous 10 to get one referral in a year's time, doesn't seem that far-fetched, does it?
Oh my gosh, it's such a blessing too, when someone calls you up and says, yeah, this person referred me, and it's like you automatically have it because they trust you. And that is the best kind of business to have. Another thing that I wanted to add while he's talking is anybody that feels like, oh, I'm not doing enough business right now, remember it's February. We just came through the holidays, January, February. This is our time to catch up on everything, get our ducks in a row, get our advertising out there, do our flyers, our magazines, our whatever you're going to do to get a hold of everyone. But that was a really big thing. She goes, yeah, some of you are complaining it's slow. Well, it is February. And she also was saying that we're like at pre-COVID numbers. So I was listening to that, and she was saying, if you just kind of watch and see what happened, we had some really crazy things happen during COVID. So realize that we're more normalizing right now than anything. And so just to not get, I don't think anyone on here is frustrated, or we're all out there doing our thing, but there's a lot of agents with negativity. But we're in the masterminds because we all know that we're going to do well this year. So
it's interesting, the perspective. It's like when interest rates were going up, we got into the 5s, everybody's like, what's happening? And then it's celebration when they drop into the 5s, right? It's like, oh my gosh, it's the best thing ever. They just drop. It's the same damn thing. It is all predicated on what preceded it, you know, what led up to that change. So yeah, that's pretty awesome. I just want to give a shout out to Jen and Dottie for that social media training that they did on their video editing. Go to the Team Limitless Facebook group. She was kind enough to post the recording in there, but a lot of Donnie kind of, I loved that entrance, Donnie. But you guys, that was great value add. So any of you that missed that, go to Team Limitless, watch that video. I know I need to spruce up my social media, and I'm going to learn a lot of tips and tricks from that training. So thanks, guys.
Yeah, we actually met with agents right after that too. Somebody that was just seeing our post and stuff, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, Jeff and Lynn, holy cow, I follow them," and they were acting like you guys were like superstars. It was awesome.
Oh, that's awesome.
Sweet.
No, I love how we all support each other. I love seeing your guys' posts, and I'm reading it and I'm liking it, and it says also liked by, and I see a lot of your names on there. You guys are really good at like I'm pointing to the Romneys here. They're really good. Not that all of you aren't, but your name is like on a lot of the posts right there at the first when I'm looking at our team and just those other agents that we know. It's like I love the support of each other.
doesn't feel good when you post something, Tracy and the whole team's just popping in.
I know I
saying,
haven't
good
been
job.
into that much. I'm trying to do better.
You're doing a great job. Your stuff looks really good, but I love the support because I see you supporting other people too, and I love seeing that camaraderie that we have.
Yeah, all guys.
Yeah.
Okay, so that is a great segue for me to ask you all a favor. Oh, shit. Oh, no. No, I actually planned on doing this at some time. I was working, I think it was Friday, putting together some new business cards and doing some different things. And so I was collecting QR codes for different things that I want to send people to. And one of them was my Google review page. So I'm going to share this. Speaking of supporting each other, everybody that I'm looking for 5-star reviews. I don't want any 2s or 3s. So you just talk to me privately if it's not a 5.
So
But-
we're all gonna do this now.
But here's the thing, if you will scan this and go to our business page and give us a review, I'll return the favor. Everyone that gives us a review, I want to go to your site and I want to give you a 5-star review. But it's a twofer because Lynn will go to your page and I'll go to your page.
Yes.
So, yeah, so if you can take a image of that, it'll pull up on your browser and wow, that kind of let in really kind of cool with this. Supporting each other.
It's good they connect.
Yeah. Well, you know, I when I was doing this, I was realizing that I don't ask. I don't ask for referrals. I don't ask for reviews. I don't
You
ask,
get busy, right?
right?
Mhm.
But that's why I mentioned the previous year's transactions should lead into another one. I don't want to reach out to people and say, who do you know? But I do want to work with them and say, hey, I want to work with more people like you. And in the conversation and in the relationship, have it come up in a way where I'm complimenting them and letting them know that, you know, they're important in my life and I want more like you guys, right? I want you to bring more agents into our office that are like you guys. I love all of you guys. And none of you will bring negative energy in here. But it's the same thing with our clients. We tend to get to work with somebody that's like them when they refer us. It's like, oh, it's so awesome to get a referral from Chris because I love his friends. You know what I mean?
You know, I'll throw something in real quick too. Michelle and I were talking about this yesterday and how so many of your referrals that you get are from people that are shopping right now that you're working with because it's top of mind. They're talking about it to their friends that they're buying a house because they're happy and excited about it. 2 years from now, they're not going to be talking about buying a house because they're in their house. So you actually get a lot of referrals right when, you know, right out of a closing or during even working with them at the same time. So that tells me 2 things: capitalize on it, but also if you've been in the business a while, why aren't you capitalizing on 3 or 4-year-old transactions and those people? Because you're not staying in touch with them as well as you should. It just kind of opened our eyes a little bit about, yeah, that's really smart. So we were trying to think of how to capitalize better on both the past and the present. And one thing that I'm really not good at, that's so easy to do and so impactful, is when you're at a closing or you're wrapping up a transaction, just simply say, give your buyer or seller a compliment and say, and appreciate them and say, hey, I just wanted to say thank you for choosing us to help you in your home purchase or sale. So that's a thank you. And then give a compliment and say, you've been so great to work with. So thank you for being great to work with. And just so you know, Michelle and I, we work really 100% on referrals. So if you hear of anyone or know of anyone that is looking to buy or sell, you know, please keep us in mind. And it's so easy and non-threatening. I'm not asking for referrals. I'm just complimenting and thanking them and letting them know that I'm a referral agent. And I think that's important. You know, if they know you're 100% referral, even if you do advertisement and other things, you're a referral. We're all referral agents. So just a little, you know, it just made us think about it towards it. We have a closing later this afternoon. I was thinking, I've got to start doing that better because the people we're working with right now today, they're such amazing people. And we know they have, you know, friends, and they probably just haven't thought about it because we don't bring it up. Make it easy for them.
Great point.
That's awesome. Thanks for sharing that, Eric.
Yeah, I mean, definitely, that makes a lot of sense when they're so excited about their purchase and they're telling their friends anyway. Why not get the value out of having them name drop?
Right.
Yeah.
Who's
One thing
helping?
too, we were talking about, just this is a side point too, is Michelle and I are talking about kind of the market. And it seems like, I know that you guys have been in the business for a long time. Everyone that's here that's been in the business a long time, it seems like the public is like 3 months behind of what's really happening, but people that are just kind of casually observing, they might be 6 months behind. But what I've noticed over the last month is we're starting to see people talk about, hey, this is a good time to buy, right? And, you know, and we just picked up a couple investors that both of them happen to be past clients, but one of them reached out to me and said, hey, we're thinking about buying a couple rentals with some equity that we have in our home because we've heard it's a good time to buy. So people are starting to, it's catching up a little bit. The market is catching up to what the public is seeing. So take advantage of that. So when you think about someone that bought a house 2 or 3, 4 or 5 years ago, whether they're your client or not, you know, just someone you know, put that, you know, get that out there and let them know, hey, have you heard kind of what's going on in the market right now? We've had a little dip in interest rates and pricing has come down a little bit, but we can be much more aggressive on the buyer's end to secure a good investment property for people. So if you know someone with some equity that would like to have some passive income with a rental, please let me know. That's what we're working on right now. And they may say, you know, I've been thinking about it. So it's something to think about too, that it's starting to come around where people are seeing what's happening in the market and they're feeling it a little bit. And if they've ever thought about getting a rental or an additional rental, now's a good time to talk to those people that, you know, they're not moving, but this is a good time to talk to them about an additional property.
Good point.
Yeah, I love that. I was talking to some new investors this last week that are just getting in the game, and one of the conversation points was getting in the game, right? Just buy a nice, solid product for your portfolio, and don't always be trying to say, oh, I got to get this 50,000 under value. The deal's got to make sense, because it does make sense for today. The prices are what they are today. The interest rate is what it is. But when you're playing the long game, you could, I mean, look back 30 years, and it's the same thing when you look forward 30 years. Things are going to fluctuate, and there's really not a bad time to put a property in your portfolio if it's the term is long enough. If you're trying to do something 2-3 years out, a little bit different process, but a portfolio product that you're just going to hold on to, just get in the game. You must do, oh, sorry, I'm reading Jen's sign behind you. You must do it.
You know, on that, oh, go ahead, Lynn.
You go ahead, because I'm going to take us a different place. Go ahead.
Yeah, just to follow up on that, we were showing houses over the weekend to a buyer that was a referral, and the home that I did a CMA on, it was selling for easy 500,000 6-9 months ago, and now the asking price is 460, and it seems a little overpriced. So we're actually going to offer a little bit less on it. But one thing that I did have a discussion with him was exactly what you're talking about, Jeff, is this home will be back at 500,000. So it's a good deal long term. They're not looking for a flip. They're going to live there for 5 years. So it's you know, even at the asking price, it's a really good deal. Even if you can't get it for a little bit less, just because of that long-term vision. It's like you're getting it on sale right now, and it's just going to go back to regular pricing, you know, eventually. Probably sooner than later.
Right.
So,
What you go to a different point on that point? I remember when we were very active prior to the crash. 08 happened and properties were just plummeting. So for years, the talk was prices are never going to get back to what they were in 07. They can never get that high again. With perspective, isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
But that was what everybody was saying. That was like this crazy thing that happened that caused all of this. We'll never see that again. And that alone has kept a lot of people out of the market.
we've never not seen it again. It's always come back stronger no matter what. So, yeah.
I was going to just add how confusing this is for buyers right now and sellers. Doing an open house this weekend and talking through with people, they were just looking at me like they were absorbing everything I was telling them, because I was telling them how the market is, you know, how it has changed. Because the house that I was doing the open house on, we started at 1.2 right before Thanksgiving. It's in Holiday. There's nothing similar to it as cheap as we are. Just that we have some variables that some people might not like. But in talking to people and letting them know, yes, no, we've shifted. I've gone under contract on every listing except this one. And just kind of describing what's happening with the market and having them listen. There was one person that she was like, being a buyer in this market, well, there was 4 people that had specific things to say, and they were pretty emotional about it. One said, I hate buying homes right now. I hate it. I'm not having a good time doing it. And I'm really frustrated with it. And he has an agent, so I didn't go into too much detail with that, but I wanted to but listening to how his frustration of trying to find something in certain areas for his family, for his kids, and how pricing just isn't making any sense, that you think that you can go out there and go buy something and you can ask for closing costs and you can ask for a rate buy down, but then there's 4 offers on the table at the same time. And that's kind of how the last couple of weeks have been. You don't know, your new, something that's even pre-existing could have multiple offers on the weekend. So, and the other person was saying, she was just like, it's just so confusing, because some people don't get educated by their agent. And if they're not educated and their agent's just trying to push them towards doing something, then they don't understand what's happening. And I know all of us are educators and we all educate our people really well, but we have other agents that are coming in with us. And so I would just say that that's the number one thing we should really train the people that come in with us is to educate people so they know what they're doing. And that way they don't feel like you're pushing them to do something. And they understand, because we are kind of doing weird things. Like, why would I go in on a multiple offer and ask and offer over a list right now when everyone's telling me that the market, is a complete buyer's market? So it's just interesting.
No, I think that frustration that people express is subconsciously maybe like a cry for help. Like they don't know what they're doing. Right? This is our profession. This is our craft. We should know what we're doing. What they're really saying is, I need help. I need somebody to help me navigate this market. It's crazy. It's frustrating me. We're all guides in this transaction process with our buyers and our sellers. All they need to do is know that they have a trusted advisor to go with. They don't have to understand every step of the process and all the possible things that could go wrong. Imagine if you sat there and told them all the things that could possibly go wrong as a way to say, that's why you need me. They're going, holy shit. But knowing that they got you by their side when things like that do come up, that's why I call it more of a guide. You're guiding them through, like, kind of like you would hire a guide if you're going up a mountainside that you'd never been up before, or if you're traversing through a cave or something like that. It'd be really nice to go with somebody that's already been there before, maybe that has even mapped it out, maybe somebody that goes in there and tries to discover new ways and routes and this and that. There's different qualifiers for the type of guide that they're hiring too, and we want to be that for them. We want them to say, this guy is going to help me avoid the pitfalls, the obstacles, and it's going to be a smooth process. So
what I really think right now is a really good time, like Eric was saying, to get on the phone and talk to people, because I think you remember last winter when everything was selling so fast, we had no inventory, and we're like, oh my gosh, put your house on the market. You're going to make the best money you're ever going to make if you get it on right now. This is the same time with our buyers right now. I think there's this little opportunity where before things really start picking up right after Valentine's Day, for them to buy something at a good deal. So I think getting on the phone, talking to your people, a lot of you are really good at social media. And if we want more sales, I think that's what we need to do, because they're going to be sad if they wait and you're going to say, I knew it. I knew I should have told them. And so that's what I've been doing, is I've been just reaching out to everybody I know that's kind of been sitting on the fence for the last couple of years, just watching what's going on, saying, hey, there's a little opportunity here. I have a feeling it's going to pick up again in the spring. And I do think it's going to pick up in the spring.
it would be better that you give that advice and they not take it than them a year or two down the road said, why didn't you tell me? I mean, I have clients that I have history with, and they're always looking back and it's like, why didn't you make me buy more? Why didn't you should have pushed me harder. And I'm like, I was. You weren't ready. So you were going to say something?
Yeah.
Oh.
So anybody else doing, how's everybody's business going? How's it going? February?
Like
Well,
February.
I feel like this is the ramping up period for me.
I totally do too, yeah.
And yeah, you know, I'm trying to sell a house over there, it just sits. So I'm trying to think of creative ways to pivot, offering self-finance, refinancing it. So I really don't want to lower the price, and I really do believe that spring is going to shift
Mhm.
100%. I'm with you on that one. I've been telling people that, I'm like, if you're a buyer, you need to buy right now when it's still a real buyer's market. Because the spring is always for sellers. It's historically always been for sellers.
Mhm.
Yep, seasonally, but also the market conditions. I mean, I think right now is a unique time where it seems like that's the consensus. Sometimes we look at the analysis or the people that are projecting or whatever, and they're all over the place, but that talking point seems to be pretty prevalent with most everybody I'm listening to.
Are you guys still feeling like the new builds are a really good thing for your investors since Edge Homes told us they had 120 houses in inventory? Shana, you're under contract on a new build. You just did a final walkthrough. That's on the old prices though, or is it a newer one?
It's brand new with DR Horton. Is that what you're asking?
Yes, and how was that? Were you able to negotiate really well on that one?
Yeah, so the home, I'm just trying to think what I want to share. So the home was dropped significantly by the builder from what it was originally at, and with the inspection and everything, they're moving in with 60K in equity.
Nice. That's awesome.
Love it.
So you guys are focused on for investors to buy those?
Well, let's ask Shana about that. So do you think, Shana, that would have been a good opportunity for an investor as a rental, or what's your opinion on rents where you're located? Because it's down south.
That's actually a killer.
Yeah, so actually Ashley was with me and she's like, man, I need to buy one of these for a rental. It's in Santaquin, so it's a little further south. They did a USDA loan, so that's how far they had to go, but they're really happy with the choice they made. And yeah, I would see, as an investor, I would definitely look into it.
You just went under contract under that though. This isn't one that's been sitting for a while. So
No, it was a spec home that was nearly done. It was like 2 months away from completion when we went under contract, and we're closing this Thursday.
nice. Doesn't that feel
Well,
good?
you mentioned Edge though, having 120 inventory homes. How long ago was it where they didn't have any inventory?
Well, now she said,
Like
so not only were they given the incentives, but now they're saying that they'll negotiate on price too.
Edge Homes is?
Yeah, just because they have it listed at one thing doesn't mean that's what you have to pay.
And
So-
too many people haven't been in the game long enough to understand that what you're thinking, oh no, that's what it is. But now.
Well, because historically, all builders kind of, they set their own price point for their neighbors. They have all the numbers they do. They raise or lower it based on what they're doing. They don't really give a shit about outside that subdivision. They're setting the comps for their own subdivision. And they have a little bit more motivation today than they have in the past, where before it's like, I don't care if it takes 6 months to sell. I'm not going to reduce my comps, because then they all drop. Right? They want to raise their comps, even if it means days on the market. So the builders have been very, very protective of, list to sell price. And this is the first time really that I've experienced the open talk about, hey, shoot us an offer, let's talk.
Have you guys had good experience with that? Have you been able to bring your stuff down, or did you guys stay in it? Did you stay in it?
It's all been brought down. Both of them, the single family, the condo, everything. So. And on the other hand, with pre-existing inventory, that doesn't help, but. But for investors that like condos and townhouses, that's a majority of what Edge has available right now. Their single family homes, last time I checked, their single family homes, there was less than 10 or so available, but townhouses and condos.
Yeah.
If that's what your investors want, or if that's what your clients are looking for,
Who's our
you got
contact there?
tickets.
At Edge,
Janine.
We've got.
there's a few good ones.
Yeah.
Janine supported our team quite a bit. I used Jeff for a long time. I don't remember his last name, Kirk. Yeah, used him on several of mine.
For those of you know what the Lynn was referring to when the Romneys did their personal transactions, as things started changing, they're just like, hey, you know, they were ones that, what I was just talking about, getting in the game, right? And so instead of going there and saying, hey, let's buy a rental property, they said, if we can buy, let's buy two. They're like potato chips, you can't have just one, right? Hey, I gotta have another one. So they're buying a home to move into and a rental property and turning their existing property into a rental. So, but moving into a new home, that's a great goal for a lot of people. But they usually sell their previous home and they're not buying an investment property. So going from that, well, in these relation of these properties, 1 to 3, much better strategy. I'm so proud of you guys. Anybody else have anything they want to chat about? Any struggles they're working with that the team collective could help with?
I just kind of want to touch on one thing that we've been seeing, and then Lynn was talking about too, is setting that expectation for your buyers. Because they're, depending on the listing, it's not going to be sitting for a long time. Since it's like the second week in January, every time I'm looking at a value for a seller or checking on upcoming listings, I'm seeing more and more houses under contract now at less days on market. And so, yes, there are still some great deals out there. And there are still those situations where you can come in under asking and ask for concessions. But for that right listing, it is going to be more on the seller side.
Our
And so-
inventory is getting smaller.
Inventory is getting smaller, and so I think we're gonna feel the pinch throughout February here, but then March and April and May, when listings start coming available. And projected rates are gonna be pretty decent, you know, right around where they are. I mean, we took a little peek towards the end of this last week, but rates are gonna be mid to low 5s is kind of what I'm hearing. And with that and the increase in inventory this spring, I think it's going to bring a lot of people out of the woodwork, but set that expectations, because not all listings right now are going to be on the buyer's side. So, and I've seen it all over, like some of the Facebook pages, like Utah, or the agents pages on Facebook, where houses have been sitting for 60 days. And then all of a sudden in 1 week, they had 19 showings and 3 offers. It's like the switch got flipped. If your listing's priced right and it's in good shape and things like that, they're not sitting like they used to. So something's coming.
No, I felt it that second week in January.
Yeah.
It's like, wait, what's going on here?
It's like, wait, I'm getting requests for showings now. What's going on? So,
Well, I pulled a few of mine off market at the request of the sellers. They were really tired of showing and they didn't want to drop anymore. And I know there's other people that have too. And so I wonder if all those are going to come back on this spring.
Sorry, while I got this camera up here, this is Don Bowman and Carrie Hall, some of our newest agents coming on board. Some of you may not know who they are, so little introduction. Good to have you guys. Love having you in person.
I'll add something.
Okay.
So I was just thinking, I know I need to go watch the Reigns training last week for social media, but I just want to emphasize it again because James and I have been kind of figuring out like what direction we want to go in marketing, and if we keep on the way that we've been going or change it up. And we kind of thought about farming a neighborhood for a while, and I said I would rather put more effort and energy into social media than farming a neighborhood, because I am getting, my business is 100% referral based, and it is all through my connections with social media. And I'm now having things pop up from even just, you know, your memories that come up that are still really good information that I can reshare. And people are, anyway, it's just fascinating to me that like my workload is getting lighter from all the work I did before in social media. And so I do want to crank it up, and I do want to get better in my strategy so that this time next year, 2-3 years down the road, it's working for me even better. So I'm just seeing like the fruits of my labor happening, and it's really good. So keep going in that direction.
Nice. Yeah, good validation for sticking to it, right? A lot of us can quit too early.
Well, and I like those memories like you're talking about, because like if you get something and let's say you did take pictures at closings, it kind of reminds you of, hey, this just happened a year ago, or this happened 2 years ago. How's it been 5 years?
I like that. I like the idea of posting a memory. I hadn't really thought of it this way, but it kind of like you're showing your longevity in the business and that you've been at it for a minute. And if you're only doing new posts, you can't really, well, you could talk about that, but I think sharing a memory from a couple years ago is really.
I like that too. I want to say, based off of what Shannon just said, it's really easy for us to hear, well, this is working for that person, and this is working for that person, and this is working for them, and I want to grow my business, so I need to do all of that. Whereas really, if we stay focused on what we're already good at, like Shane is already really good at social media. Just work on that, focus on that where you already shine. We can spread ourselves way too thin trying to do everything that everybody else is doing. There's something called your zone of genius, whatever you're really good at. Focus on that one. I have tried for years to be good at hosting, what is it? The open house parties after they've closed and invite all the neighbors. I'm not actually a party person. And I finally acknowledged that. And I'm saying, you know what? That's not my thing.
Hey, Kitty, send Mark. Send Mark.
Send Mark to the parties.
Yeah.
Have him do the party.
It's not my
That
thing.
might not work. I didn't like the party.
So that kind of goes along with what Maylee was talking about last week in the mastermind. She says, whatever marketing or social media, whatever that you're doing, make it you. It's more real that way if it's natural to you. So you can't just go copy other people's things because that's not you.
That's that.
If it is, great, go with it. But if it's not, then it's just going to be uncomfortable. It's going to be weird and you're not going to have a fun time doing it.
Yeah,
So
don't pretend to be a newscaster.
yeah.
It's one of the glorious today. I hope we all wrote down focus on your genius, because I think that's good. Like, that's really good.
I think I recorded, did I record last week's team training? Let me check on my Zoom. I think I recorded it last week. So the Rains did their video editing class, which was amazing, but they did it during their team meeting slot and invited all of us to participate. And that was on Tuesday mornings. Some of you might not have been able to attend on that. But the next one, what you were talking about, Maylee and Sydney and you guys and the Rains had some great input as well. So I'll make sure if I've got that recording, which I'm pretty confident I do, I'll put that in the team room list as well. Back to see my pauses. No, just to let somebody else talk. I get elbowed more times than you guys know.
I'm curious how you guys are feeling. You're well, you're not brand new, but you're brand new. And you're listening to us. What kind of goes through your mind? Is it overwhelming? Is it helpful?
For me, it's super helpful. Like, I like to observe a lot, like what's going on, so I can kind of figure out, what I kind of want to do next. Because I don't really know. And so listening and hearing all of you is helpful for me, for sure. And I know I'm going to have a lot more questions as I just listen to you more and start doing things more. And I'll probably be going to all of you, oh, I remember when you said this, can you help me with that? Or, and so it's really beneficial. So even though I may not be talking, I'm learning a lot from
Absorbing.
yes, because I feel like I need to be like a sponge right now.
Well, and the point I would make to that is like what she was saying, what somebody else is doing isn't necessarily going to resonate with you. So specifically be looking for those things like, I could do that, or that's my personality, or, what are you going to do? Not what are you going to dread doing every day, right? And so we weed out the noise. Just because somebody sells 100 homes doing something doesn't mean you have to do it.
Yeah, my thing is, what I did the first year is chase shiny objects. and you just spread yourself so thin, you don't do anything well. And so this year I'm trying to focus on a couple things and see if that works. And if that don't work, then try maybe one other thing, but just chasing everything. I mean, I'm not a great social media guy. My son said I need to do it, so I do it because he says to do it, but I want to try to take a different approach. And so it's just mainly quit chasing everything and just do who you are and what you think you're good at, and just let it be organic, and just let it take care of itself. So that's the biggest thing that I'm trying to do this year. It's just like, I don't need to do all that stuff, or it works for you, that's great, but it might not work for me. That's not my personality.
Perfect.
So
Don's on a personal journey, trying to find himself.
Trying to figure it out.
yeah, I mean, yeah, or you're gonna find them, and then you're gonna connect with them better and so on and so forth. So anyway, that's what I'm trying to do after that. That's why I joined Limitless, because I'm with chasing, oh, I'm gonna go over here, this will work, that work, this will work, and everybody tells you it'll work, but they're just trying to sell you. So I'm trying to get a couple bucks out of your pocket.
Well, we got a lot of contributors in this group, so you're in the right spot.
Yeah, so anyway, it's just good to hear all this and say, you know what? And then if you find something that you want to do, then you can get all the little nuance and the details on it, and then say, hey, what worked for you and what didn't work for you. So anyway, that's my 2 cents. And I do listen too, but I will have more and more input as this goes along.
Do you guys think it's essential to have joy in what you're doing, whether it's deciding to be in a niche, or, I mean, you notice if you're doing something specific and you're like, oh, this is like drudgery, and then you get different results when you do the specific thing. And there's so many things you can do in real estate, so many niches, that if you find the one that brings you the most joy, I feel like it just kind of, it flows, right?
Yes.
Is it running numbers all the time, trying to find the best deal for something?
Is that what you like? Yeah.
That's right, I think.
I like running my calculator a lot. It's definitely motivating.
Kitty resonated with that.
I will say, yes, you need to feel joy in what you're doing. If door knocking brings you joy, go door knocking. I hate it. It's misery. If hosting parties brings you joy, then host the parties. It's not my thing, apparently. But if it brings you joy, if you're finding joy in that moment of doing whatever the strategy is, then people will be attracted to you, because people are attracted to those who are happy and having fun. If you're feeling miserable, they're not going to want to do business with you. So they won't come.
I love that point, Kitty. That's fantastic. Because when you think about when you bought your first home or your last home, and you're excited about it, and that feeling you have, it's all you think about, and it's all you talk about. And so if you just channel that energy and say, hey, I'm working with a new buyer, this is how they're feeling, and remember that feeling, it's easy to get excited for them and be happy about what you're doing to help them, even if sometimes it's not the most convenient showings for you in your life at that moment. You just got to rechannel that energy, right? So you can be excited, and that really helps you enjoy what you're doing. And for our newbies, I wanted to kind of touch base a little bit on, kind of us veterans, something that I've always thought about for a long time and said, true or not, but I think for me, it's been, you're getting paid right now for what you did 90 days ago. So that's an experienced agent that says that. So if you're brand new, you might need to fluctuate that or expand that a little bit. Maybe what you're doing right now is going to pay you in 3, 4, 5, 6 months, right? Maybe it's a little bit longer. So start that today, right? Start your foundation today. So 3 months from now, you're starting to see those results, because you won't see them in 2 weeks usually, right? You've got to lay that foundation. And to everybody's point of doing something that they love, and don't follow somebody just because they're successful. Do what you're good at and what you feel comfortable with. The one thing that we all have to be good at is communication with our SOI and, our sphere of influence, and letting people know what we do. So even if you say, I'm never going to door knock in my life, don't say, I'm never talking to my SOI and my friends and past clients, because that will not work. We all have to be good at that. So learn how to, talk and introduce people, to what you're doing. And what I like to tell mentees when they're first starting out, it's like, well, what do I say, to a brand, I'm brand new. And this is a very important, maybe the biggest financial decision a lot of home sellers and buyers are making. How can they trust me when I'm brand new and I get to practice my first transaction on them? The easiest thing to say is, I am so blessed and grateful that I joined a team with decades of experience that are helping me every single way, every single step as I start my career. So I am helping people with a background and the support of my team. Who do you know that is looking to, buy or sell in the near future? Have you heard of anyone? So you're laying that foundation of, I'm getting that potential objection that might be in their mind that might not even say out of the way immediately. I'm with a team with decades of experience. They're amazing people, and they're walking me through every step of the way. So
remove it from the beginning.
Yeah. And it's so much easier to edify other people than yourself, no matter who you are. It is. So just, so Jeff and Lynn are incredible agents. Whoever it is, yeah. And it's true and easy to say, right? So instead of saying, hey, this is what I've done, that's just, it just comes off different. It's just easier and it's received better.
Eric, your mentees are, very fortunate to have you, and I think they don't know what they don't know. So you even saying that to them, I don't think they realize how many people get into real estate and feel all alone. That's why 90% quit after and don't even renew their license. They feel all alone. So we take this for granted, right? And you're talking to your mentees and you're saying, hey, I've got you. And they're like, cool, that's what I signed up for, right? But they don't really realize what's really happening to the other agents in their beginning of their career and not having that. So that's huge. That was a great point. And Shana, you got your hand up. So
Yeah, so I just wanted to add also, when talking about joy, I can't help but bring up the feminine masculine energy that we learned about last month or earlier this month. It's really been eye-opening for me, because for the last year, I have been functioning very heavily dominated in a masculine energy. And I actually had the best year of my career. I had 19 transactions. Like, it was such a good year financially and transaction, like number wise and all that stuff. So it's possible to have like results when you're like that. But I will tell you that I burned out. I started not enjoying parts of my business. And after learning more about the feminine energy, I was like, holy cow, that's my problem. So I've been able the last few weeks, even just getting back into my creativity and in my social media, but also how I communicate with people, how I'm functioning inside my home, talking to my kids, things like that. Like I'm noticing the more fun, playful Shana come back out, and I'm enjoying life so much better. And I know that my business will continue to grow because of it. And so I just had to say that, because it's possible to be successful and not enjoy what you're doing, but it's so much more fun to be successful and enjoy what you're doing.
It's crazy that you talked on that, Shana, because and when you said the word joy, I did end up going to the 2-day thing that Allison put on. And that was, something I would have never wanted to do before, because I live very much in the masculine, gotta get it done, and grind it out and work hard. But my word after it was all over was joy. That if I was living my ultimate life, I would have more joy in my life. And so, yeah, there's a lot to being playful and having a good time. I know it's not resonating with the men in here, but you do have a wife, and that wife,
And you don't like to be.
and that wife to be a little more playful and fun, and when we're a lot happier. But yeah, Jen Rames loves hearing this stuff too. I'm trying to get her to go. She's like, no.
to go to
Yeah,
I want to jump in and say,
tomorrow.
You
Oh,
going?
I'm going to that thing tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'm going tomorrow too. So to.
I'm going
build on what
tomorrow.
Shayna said,
Are you, make sure you wear a dress?
He wants
I'm
to
just
support
kidding.
Sorry, Kitty.
you're fine. To build on what
It's you
Shayna
guys.
said,
Yes.
yes, absolutely. Women can create massive results in either masculine or feminine energy. The problem is we will feel drained by it if we did so through masculine energy. Whereas if we do so through feminine, we will feel energized and we can keep it going. And it doesn't work so well if we lean into the masculine. We'll feel drained and want to stop.
Hey, I've always been proud of it. I've always
That's
been really
nothing
proud
wrong.
of it.
It's gotta ebb and flow a little.
Yeah, it's like, it like changes your identity just a little bit by saying, hey, you know, I gotta do a little bit more of this. It's not, I don't know, it's the whole word feminine, I guess, is what threw me off. I don't know if there's another way to put it. Because
Yeah.
Tracy said, Jeff, you have to wear a dress. And I'm like, no, we're not.
I'm just joking. Okay, I don't.
No, I'm like, it's not that kind of feminine.
Yeah.
We have to wear dresses or whatever. But
Here's an interesting observation on that though. When that class, Kitty introduced us to this coach and she came here and did a training. It was one that I missed, but Lynn had made a comment, had she built it differently and talked more about the feminine energy, she wouldn't have been interested. But the title and the description didn't really play to that as much. And so she, even though she was downstairs and had a previous appointment that she had to keep, and so she was trying to listen on Zoom, she went back and then she went to the 2-day event and got a lot out of it. But it's interesting how a title and a description say, that's not for me, you know? And so I'm interested in this is Debbie Hart is hosting this one, correct? This is the one tomorrow?
Yeah.
Yes.
And she met the coach at our training as well and connected so much with her. She's like, I gotta host one of these. I gotta get more people to hear this type of thing. But whenever it comes to relationships and partnerships and stuff like that, to assume that it's just for one person and not the other is a fallacy, because understanding each other is what makes your relationship so great and what makes us work, and where she gets joy from and where she's, you know, doesn't, you know, those kinds of things. So I'm interested in learning for myself, but also I'm always trying to learn how to understand other people better.
yeah, sorry for that we got on that subject again. But we tend to have a lot of really strong ladies in our group. We do, and I think this is actually going to help us be stronger. I do.
Yeah.
Already watching Shayna, you know, and what she's saying, because she's a tough cookie. She's been through a lot, and her being able to dance around and have fun, that's awesome.
You know what's interesting about your story, Shayna? I hope you don't mind me sharing this and stuff, but when you left your comfort zone of the coaching you were doing, the mentoring you were doing at your previous brokerage, and you had a place and you had a role and you were respected and admired there, and then you came over here and you went through a little bit of an identity shift, because, and you've shared this, so I hope this is okay, but I think there's a great lesson here is you just mentioned you have the best year you've had because you now were open to say, hey, does this still serve me? Is this what I want to be doing? Had you stayed at that brokerage, you'd still maybe be plugging away exactly what you were doing and fulfilling that role you had as a leader over there, where then when you stepped away from that, you now have the freedom to say, what do I want? What does Shayna want? What brings me happiness? And just the share you mentioned today about all the ways you used to do farming and your marketing, and that it was drudgery and you didn't get joy out of it. And then you shifted, so you're having more fun and doing more business. I just love that you were able to pivot, and everybody should have the permission to say, hey, I know I made a decision a little while ago, but is that still where I want to be? Reanalyze your situation and give yourself permission to change.
And let me throw in one more comment regarding feminine energy and what you just said, Jeff. That opening up and stepping into the unknown is feminine energy. That playing with new ideas of how to market and letting go of the things that were draining. That is feminine energy. So you were in feminine energy quite a bit, Shayna.
I was resisting it though.
I mean, I think it's easy for like men and women both to get lost in the grind. And, you know, I didn't make it to that class, you know, because I didn't feel like I wasn't a woman, so. But women get into the grind and get that masculine energy. I've dealt with other agents that were men on the other side, and they were really, really aggressive because I think they were playing into that grind and becoming more of what they already are.
Alpha up, baby.
Right. And then Lynn, you talked about joy. And Tracy mentioned it as well. When I go out on showings with clients, I can't tell you how many times we're laughing as we're walking through the house. I just love to bring in, so it's not so serious. I mean, I have the passion for real estate. I have the passion for having our buyers and sellers enjoy the process. And so we laugh as we're walking through houses. It doesn't have to be a serious thing, and you can still do a really, really good job for everybody. And so I think that's more, masculine and feminine energy, but I think it's don't get lost in enjoying what you do. You know, and so that, I think that can show through to everybody.
That ties with what Eric said. It's like the most exciting thing they've
Done.
done.
You play off of their energy. There's nothing wrong with helping them get more energy.
It heightens the experience for them. That's awesome. Yeah.
So, we laugh all the time. So it's okay to point things out about a house, or, you know, as long as you're not being disrespectful, but just bring in some fun.
Maybe you should be videoing a little bit of that. That sounds fun. We're gonna do a TikTok right now.
It's like, did you read that addendum to your buyer agency agreement? You gave me permission to video all our encounter.
That's right. Or before I show a house, send over a waiver. So this may show up on social media.
And you will not be monetarily compensated for
Correct.
getting famous on my TikTok.
I just have like something that I want to share about Carrie. And it kind of just keeps coming to me, so I want to share it, even though it's different than what we're talking about. So she's a brand new agent, but she wanted to become an agent because she had a terrible experience with who helped her through some processes on her own home. And it was life-changing, life-altering, and a horrible experience for her. And so for Carrie, she wants to do this so that no one else gets taken advantage of like she did. And so what I want to say to you is that being vulnerable and being open and telling people, you know, why you're so passionate about wanting to be an agent might help you. Because you're wanting to be an agent for a really amazing reason. It's not just for the money. It's not for, you know, you're compelled to do it because you want people to you want to be a protector for them. And I think that's really awesome.
I want to see, you said that might help her. I can guarantee that.
Yes.
Because that's why I got my license, because I had an agent sit down at our house and tell us this, tell us this, and tell us this. And I felt pressured, and I felt, you know, kind of just intimidated, and that's not how I wanted it to be. And so that's why I got my license, and that's why we did this.
Actually, your top producer.
Yeah, and who knows how many people he's pressured into buying or selling or whatever else. And we don't want our clients to feel that. And so when you tell them that you want to make sure this is done right, they feel safe with you. And so one of our buyers we're helping right now was recommended to us, or, you know, referred to us from somebody that could refer him to a lot of agents. But they referred him to us, and then I went and met with them, and they told me about a bad experience they had. And I told them, this is what I do to make sure you don't have a bad experience. And a week ago, they texted me and they said, hey, do you work with this agent? And I said, no. And they said, oh, well, you sent us a house, and a few hours later, this agent sent us the same house. And I said, well, that's kind of weird. And they said, well, how did they get our information? I said, well, you know, if you're looking around on websites and you have to put in some information, people will try to get a hold of you. And she said, oh, okay, I just wanted to make sure, because I told them we're already working with the agent that we're going to work with, because we made them feel secure. So it will help you to tell people that story.
Hey, while I got the camera on you, before team meeting, we were talking about a client you're working with that you've just been pouring value into for 7 years.
Yeah.
Will you, I know it's the top of the hour, but kind of summary version, it just goes to longevity and relationships and helping people out. So share a little bit about that with these guys.
Well, and that's what it was. So she was an old neighbor of ours, and even though we weren't involved monetarily in the transaction, because her ex-husband now had a friend that was an agent in California, but we were with the same brokerage and they were the neighbor. So we wanted to just kind of help her. We handled things on, the Utah side as much as we could, help the other agent kind of advertise and whatever, but mainly just talked with her and let her know everything that was going on, because most everything else was with her ex-husband and this other agent. She was kind of left out of the loop. But so we have been friends with her, not a client situation, whatever else. We were just friends, let her know what was going on, give her information, this and that. Over this time, she has recommended us to her parents, and we've helped them transfer property. We're going, meeting with him on Wednesday to do a listing appointment and list the grandma's house. And so we haven't really helped her personally, but she's recommended us to her family because of everything that we've just helped her with. So it's being genuine, being a friend, and then she feels safe. And so everything that she gets, she sends our way.
Yeah, instead of looking at it like a burden, like you said, you're her go-to when she has a real estate question and she calls you. I think it might be easy for someone to say, well, there's not even really a transaction here. There's no payday in here, and look at that a little bit different, right? Not right now, but that is what we're talking about with SOI and our previous relationships. This is a long play. This is a long game. We're going to still be here 10, 15 years from now, right? And benefiting from what we're doing in 2023. So thanks for sharing that. Hey guys, I know some of you probably got to go. We're at the top of the hour. I just want to mention, I got a text message about the Google review site. And she asked, where do I find my QR code? Just so you know, the QR code is something that you make. If you're not familiar with that, there's a lot of free generator sites. Just Google QR code generator for free. You just put a website address in the bar and it automatically makes the QR code for you, and then you save it as a PNG or a JPEG. Just save it here.
That text what you were saying.
No, that's fine. I didn't want to say it was crazy.
It was only me.
I said I got a text from somebody, but yeah, Tracy was just curious. Where do I find my QR code?
Yeah.
No, that's right. So I'll show you how to do that. It'll be really easy. So
I feel like I could do it on the computer, but for some reason on the phone, I'm like, whatever, I don't see it.
Yeah.
okay, awesome guys. Any last thoughts, comments? Appreciate all of you. Reach out if I can do anything for you.
Thanks, you guys. Great training.
Thanks, guys. Talk to you soon.
Yes.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye. Later.